Femi.
Good evening, everybody. If you are watching after the fact, then please do feel free to skip ahead to qualifying. There will be timestamps in the description once the stream has ended. For those of you re-watching the race, I'll try and get those in as promptly as I can. We are just waiting for a few more people to join into the lobby and getting all of our streams set up correctly. So we will be with you with some Tier 2 action in just a moment.
Do you want to post yours in the Discord?
Yes.
Hi, Life Pal. Welcome in. Still waiting for Femi. Still hasn't arrived. Right. Well, if this live timing works, it's going to be amazing.
Hell yes. Right.
How can I... Ah, there we go.
Oh, that's so annoying. I don't know why it does that on my Chromebook. It doesn't do it anywhere
Alright.
else. Hello everybody, it is once again Tuesday evening and it can only mean one thing. It is time for some Tier 2 action. So welcome back to everybody. It's APPF1 Tier 2 and you're here for tonight's dose of racing action. I'm SUMO, your commentator this evening, and joining me as always is the 4-time sprint champion and my amazing co-commentator Ghost. How are you doing, buddy?
Hi, buddy. I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's been a decent day, and Tier 2 in a track like Mexico is going to be the icing on the cake, I'm sure.
Yeah, certainly so. Looks a little bit cloudy over here in the in Mexico City. That is our venue for tonight, and it is, of course, the third round of our 12-round championship here in APPF1 Tier 2 Season 5. And we have quite the Marmite circuit for our drivers this evening, I think. The Autodromo Hermanes Rodriguez is our venue for this evening, and it is a circuit that offers long straights and a number of technical corners. This 4.394 kilometre circuit is home to 17 corners, 10 to the right and 7 to the left. Sector 1 is dominated by 2 long DRS straights, where we will be sure to see some drivers overtaking. Sector 2 is twisty with some high-speed S's, which follows the third sector that boasts a third DRS zone and a trip through the stadium, which is a great place to see the cars as they finish a lap of the circuit. I'm going to say, Ghost, that as a driver I don't really enjoy this track, and I haven't commented on many races here. Any thoughts?
It's certainly a tricky one. You've got the incredibly long straight and the double DRS zone, which is utterly stupid and ridiculous. But it's very contrasting in a lot of areas because you need the low downforce to get through that long straight. But conversely, you also need high downforce to get through some of the more tricky sections on the track, in particular the S's in Sector 2. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we'll see a number of different setups at play today. Some drivers may run low wings to be rocket ships on the straight, and others may run their wings a little bit higher to be able to navigate the S's a lot faster. So yeah, I think some interesting tactics will be involved here.
Yeah, certainly so. And we've got a few. I wouldn't say new faces. So one returning face on the grid for certain, but we'll go through that in a moment as we turn our attention towards the championship. After a crazy race around Miami, Muhiti took the top step and closed the gap to championship leader Lawrence to just 1 point. Pomianix and Fido also sit a point apart for third, just 10 points away from their respective teammates on the top 2 positions. A close fight for 5th looms with Spartan Keith, Scott and QBV all sitting within touching distance of one another. It's a tie at the top in the constructors, with the top spots taken by Alpine and Ferrari, both sat on 76 points. They are clear of Mercedes and McLaren by 45, as they are also tied on 31 points. Plenty of racing and points to be had still in this championship. Are there any insights from you guys?
Well, I think we have a new joiner today, which is definitely an insight. Although new is perhaps not the right word, because Mireles joins us again after it must have been well over a year and a half since he's last raced in APPF1. So it's fantastic to see him back, and I hope he does well today. He's in the pits at the moment in the Alfa Romeo, but have a watch to see how he does. And I'm delighted to report that the live timing is working, and I'm seeing everyone's speeds, everyone's ERS and tyre percentages and everything, and even how much fuel everyone has. For instance, Scott has put in 10 laps of fuel because he's going to do a few laps of practice before he gets the qualifying lap in. So these sorts of insights, I love it. It's brilliant. I'm so glad we have this.
Wow, I'm going to have to try and find a way to get that on my end as well, and we can both have
definitely.
a good look at
now we know it works.
That information. Yeah, certainly. As Tier comes across the line, I think he's going to set the pace. He is 1 minute 19.5 from the Aston Martin. And before we go any further, just a quick shout out to our sponsor, Positive Perception Media Design Products. They've been with us in Tier 2 for a long while now, and we really appreciate their support as Mr. J-Man goes top of the standings. So please do head over there and give them all the love and support you can, especially as much as you show us over here for Tier 2, as that they do some awesome racing liveries and they put some awesome racing content over on their YouTube channel, so please do go and check them out. I would really appreciate that.
Do you know what the next best thing about this is in qualifying? Sorry, I'm all giddy about this. This is great. The really cool thing about this is that, you know how the game tells you when someone's done a purple sector and it's wrong a lot of the time. It's misleading. On this, we can see exactly whether the game is right or not.
So we can finally say that someone's actually lighting up the timing boards.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god.
JBS Steve I was riding on board with, he just went P4. He's about 5 tenths back from Mr. J-Man, who is performing yet again. We thought last week might have been a fluke. Maybe he was really like Miami, but here he is again on provisional pole, Sumo.
Wow, incredible stuff from Mr. J-Man at the moment. He is sat there at the top right now. I think still plenty of time left in the session for drivers to get some laps in. And we're going to follow along with Mireles now, I think. There's a couple more drivers who are about to come across the line. I think our championship leader's still in the pits at the minute. And that's Scott, I think, making his way around. So we're going on a little tour of this Mexico City circuit then, as Mireles comes around the stadium section to start his lap here, looking for a good exit onto this straight. It's incredibly long. I'm not sure if it's the longest in the Formula 1 calendar. It might well be, but it is certainly an incredibly long straight for an F1 track. And then we go into this triple set of corners, this triple chicane. Right, left, right, in goes Mireles, braking as late as he dares into this and getting on the apex is to try and get the best exit possible on the power now to come down the second of 2 DRS straights in this first sector, which ends just as the DRS zone ends and into the braking zone, braking late again into this now twisty section. You just got to carry the momentum through that corner, and then a tricky double right-hander. Try and catch the apex on both parts if you can manage it, and Morelos has done just that. And now we go into this S section. It looks fairly easy, but it's actually quite a tricky section. You've really got to be easy on the thing, and he has invalidated there. The last section would be the stadium section, of course, which we can watch Morelos come through as he rounds off the lap. A third DRS zone here, and then you would carry as much speed through there as you can. Then a very tight hairpin, which brings you through into this quite tricky little section, and then you've got to be careful coming through these final couple of corners, as the traction can catch you off guard as Morelos comes to finish his lap, but it won't count for the timings.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott's tyres are now on 11%. He's still doing a few more laps of practice, as I said, but I'm sure he'll be back out on fresh softs pretty soon to try and actually set a lap. He's done a few invalidated ones while practicing. He hasn't had much opportunity to practice today, so yeah, hopefully he can get a good time on the board before he comes into the pits. But yeah, Mr. J-Man is still looking incredibly strong. He's 3.5 tenths ahead of Jamie F1 at the moment. But we still have the likes of the two current championship rivals, Muhiti and Lawrence. Neither of them have set a representative lap time yet.
No, not at all. I think I think TTV Max is also doing a bit of practice before he goes out, and maybe Fido Man as well, as we go along. So a few people are a little bit out of practice and using the early stages of this short qualifying session to get some done. Mercedes have got a lot to do if they're going to catch up to the guys at the top in the constructors at the moment, and they need some very strong races if they're going to do that. But Alpine and Ferrari have been looking on top form of late, so they're going to struggle, I think, are the Silver Arrows.
Yeah, definitely. They've got to come back from the first race where neither of them could make it, unfortunately, due to obviously real life stuff. So yeah, I mean they've got a mountain to climb, but I do think Jamie F1 and JBS Steve have the potential to climb that mountain with a few good results.
Yes, certainly. There's another man on track who I really want to see do well, and that's the Aston Martin of Tier. I'm going to try not to say he's doing so well as much, as hopefully that will keep the bad luck away. But if I could see Tier get a top 5 or even a podium this season, then I would have had a great Tier 2 season indeed. And Mr. J-Man's on a lap once again.
Crozer jumps up to P2. He was 8 tenths ahead of his previous best time in Sector 2, but he lost 2 tenths in Sector 1, so he can definitely go for that provisional pole, can the Red Bull driver. But Mr. J-Man has spun, so he won't be improving at the moment.
JBS Steve's putting in a sloppy lap, I think, for this one. He's only 8 thousandths of a second up on his previous best. He's struggling around this circuit. It is a very tricky track indeed. And actually, I think Krauser, this is his first race this season, as he's not been able to make the previous two.
Yeah, it is. It's his first race this season, so hopefully he can do well. Spartan Keith's been trying to do him proud. Obviously, yes, last week didn't end the way Spartan wanted it to, as Tier is into the wall and out of the session during the S section. Just got a bit too trigger happy on the throttle, and into the wall he goes. So Tier will not be improving.
Lalo Maddo in the Haas, 4 tenths up as he's come through the second sector. Can he get anywhere near that pole time? It's possible. He's sat on an 18.0 right now. Could this be top? Yes. It is 1 minute 17.1 from the Haas.
That's a massive improvement from Lalo Maddo, and well, the time to beat. The reserve driver really putting in a fantastic effort there. But Mr. J-Man is up on his previous time by just under 400ths of a second through Sector 1, so maybe he can gain a lot more in Sector 2.
Yeah, certainly Spartan Keith's coming around on a lap in that Red Bull as well. He's coming through the S section now. He'll be crossing that Sector 2 line in just a moment. We'll see if he's up on his previous or not. He is. He's 8 tenths up. So this could be a quick
Sector
lap.
1 as well. Mr. J-Man is invalidated.
Oh, Mr. J-Man not going to get this next lap in. It might have to be down to the final run for the Williams driver. Through comes the Red Bull now to set another lap. This could be provisional pole for Spartan Keith. And it's, not quite. He's just missed out by a couple of tenths. But he does go on the front row, knocking Mr. J-Man into P3.
Very close indeed from Spartan Keith. As another man on a lap is Jamie F1, currently sitting P5 in the Mercedes. I believe Pommy Alex is on a lap as well, or him and Muhiti. They're very close together, the two Ferraris, so I'm not sure if they're both on laps. Let me see. Muhiti's definitely on a lap, Pommy Alex is not, so maybe Alex was giving him a tow as Muhiti comes across the line. And he must have invalidated, I think. I wasn't watching this.
Yes, he did. He invalidated that lap as Morales goes 1 minute 18.164. Here comes QB on a lap, 5 tenths at the moment. This could see him into P12 ahead of Scott in the Alpha Tauri.
Jamie F1 is about 3 tenths up, I think he was, maybe 4 on his previous best as he comes through the final sector now. Through the final corner, up to the line. Where is the Mercedes going to be? He's going to be close to pole. It's P3 for the Mercedes, 2.5 tenths off of Lalo Mado. And he is looking good for the fight for pole today.
Look who's decided to finally come out of the pit lane. Our championship leader on the track now in that Alpine, making his way through the traffic at the minute. I think he's got a Alfa Romeo on a lap behind him. That was TTV Max. He's just got out of the way for the young Brit in that Alfa Romeo. I think this is his first race as well this season.
TTV Max, yeah, it is. So hoping that he can do well as well. He had a bit of a dismal Sunday at sprints the other day, so yeah, hopefully he can improve on that. Pommy Alex goes into P4 meanwhile in the Ferrari, improves by 7 tenths on his previous best.
He's 6 tenths up at the moment. Here's young Max in the Alfa Romeo coming through the final sector now. A couple more corners to navigate for car number 2 as he comes around the final corner now. I don't think this is going to be pole, but it could be a decent lap to see him into P9 just ahead of his teammate.
Yeah, decent stuff from young Max there. Alex not on a lap. Jamie F1 is someone's doing donuts there. That's QB who spun in the stadium section. Lawrence is now on a lap, as is Muhiti, who is 3 seconds up on his previous best. Obviously, he hasn't set a representative lap time yet, but Muhiti lighting up the timing screens. He's not purple, though, through Sector 1. I'll have a look and see if Sector 2 comes up on screen. He's not purple through Sector 2 either, but he's doing pretty well at the moment as he comes through Sector 3. He could be challenging for the second row, I think.
Yeah, this could be good from the Ferrari. His teammates up there in P4 at the moment, and could probably find a bit more time. Could Pommy Alex? Here comes Muhiti, yes. P5, just a few hundredths of a second away from his teammate.
Lawrence has spun, meanwhile, in the S's section, so he's only got 3.5 minutes left to set a lap. So our championship leader could be in trouble here.
Yeah, Mr. J-Man needs to find a little bit more time. He's dropped all the way down to P6 from sitting on the top step at the moment. He's a 10th up as he's come through Sector 1. We'll see as he crosses the Sector 2 line just now if he's any further up on his previous. It's 3 tenths of a second up. So this could see him back on the top step of the podium in the Williams. Or top step even.
Mr. J-Man, yeah, he's certainly up on his previous best. I'm not sure if it's enough for pole position, but we'll see as he comes up to the line, hugs that inside curb, and it's a 17.5. He lost a lot of time in the final sector there. In fact, 3 tenths he lost in that final sector on his previous best. So Mr. J-Man's got a lot more in him, but does he have the time to unleash it?
I'm not sure as Muhitti's making it a way around. I think he might just peel into the pit lane and try for one more lap. He might just have enough time. There's a few drivers now
Oh,
making it
sorry, he
around.
was invalid.
He was
Sorry.
invalid. But Scott's on a lap now, not a representative for Scott at all. I think this is another warm-up lap, maybe to burn off a bit of fuel in that car at the moment. Here comes young Max again. He's down on his previous best, so that won't be much improvement on this particular occasion, and I think he'll run out of time to set another lap. Jamie F1's on an out lap right now, which is currently invalidated. How about Mr. J-Man? I think he might be his qualifying could be at an end unless he's gonna run again, which it looks like he might, as I think he's recharging that battery for one more run. JBS Steve is on a lap. He's a 10th
Spartan Keith has gone purple in Sector 1, Sumo. Sorry to interrupt you. The Red Bulls were working together on the straight. Crozer gave him a huge tow all the way down the main straight, and Spartan is purple.
Red Bull's working together once
Oh,
again.
he's made a mistake though. He's got too much on the curb in the S's, and that will be that for that lap, I think. Yeah, he's aborted it. So unfortunate. Could have gone pole there.
I think he might do the same thing for Krauser and give Krauser the toe and see if he can have a go. But here comes JBS Steve. It's 1 minute 17.6, only good enough for P7 from the Mercedes. So he's not having the best of times out there right now. Pommy Alex is about to start a lap. The Red Bull of Krauser, I think he sacrificed his previous lap to help Spartan Keith. And I think he's about to start one now. Spartan Keith will start a new lap as well. Renault's on an out lap. I think QB's coming across the line. No, he's not. He's not on a lap at the minute. Lalo Mado on an out lap. How about Scott? Where's Scott at the minute? He's coming through Sector 3 now.
He was 2 seconds down in Sector 2, though, according to my timing. So unfortunate for him. Muhitti is... Oh, sorry, he's on an out lap at the moment. So I don't think he's even going to get across the line. No, not enough time. So Muhitti will not improve. Crozer is one man who is on a lap, though. What's his time? He's a 10th up in Sector 1. So we'll see what he can do in the rest of the lap.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the next driver to cross the line. I don't know if JBS Steve is going for it again. I don't know how much he's got left in that Mercedes at the minute. He's 5 seconds down, so no time for him. Pommy Alex is 8/10ths up as he comes through Sector 2, but he's invalidated his lap, so it's not going to matter for the Ferrari. That could have seen him on pole position, perhaps, as he's come through. How about Krauser and his fellow Red Bull, who's just a corner or so behind? Let's see if Krauser can get himself a bit further up.
He was 1.5 tenths down on his previous best after Sector 2, and he spins out the final corner, trying to push too hard to make up that time. So the Red Bull will not improve. What about Lalo Mado? He's up on his previous best through Sector 1. What about Sector 2? He's purple in Sector 2. Lalo Mado looking to secure his pole position here as he comes through the stadium section in that Haas. What can he do coming through the final corner now?
This could surmount his lead and maybe go into the 1 minute 16s as well. Can the Haas? And I think it is. It's a 1 minute 16.9 from the Haas, who's going to be your pole sitter, unless Lawrence, who is on a lap currently, can beat it. He's coming through the final couple of corners now. Our championship leader, can he put himself on pole position? It's not going to be good enough, and it's not even going to be good enough to see him out of P13. It's a P13 for our championship leader, who's got some work to do, and I think that is going to be your qualifying session here at Mexico.
Yeah, Lawrence not able to set a properly good lap time there, so he'll, as you say, have a lot of work to do in the race. The Ferrari's looking good. The Red Bull's looking decent as well, as are the Mercedes. But Lalo Mado, imperious in qualifying. No one close to his Sector 2 times. He was purple by far in Sector 2. So he is the man who will be starting on pole today.
Scott Riley says it's a shame he couldn't make it tonight. It is a shame indeed, Scott. I'm sure he'll be back next week for a bit more racing with Tier 2 here. But it's going to be Lalo Mado then taking pole position, his first of the season, I believe, for the Haas team. Spartan Keith joins him on the front row, of course, in that Red Bull, with Jamie F1 and Pommy Alex taking up row 2. Muhitti, our championship contender, and Mr. J-Man take up row 3 with JBS Steve and Krauser on the 4th row. Mr. Unlucky Tier and Fido Man take up row 5, with TTV Max and Morales on 6. Championship leader Lawrence and Scott sharing number 7, and QB rounding off the rest of the grid. An interesting race in store then. Our championship leader's got some work to do, and the Ferraris are looking in a good spot to score some decent points. But can the Mercedes get themselves involved in this fight?
Absolutely, but I'll tell you who has not had a good qualifying session as well in terms of teams. Alpine, the team that are currently sitting. Where are they in
10
the
and
championship?
13, but they're tied top on the
Yes,
championship.
yeah, with Ferrari. So Alpine with a lot of work to do. As it's raining for the race, it's a wet race, Sumo.
Oh my word.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know how long it's going to be raining for in the race, but it looks like heavy rain to me. I don't know if I can't quite tell what kind of tyre that is in the garage. I think that looks like an intermediate, maybe.
It looks green, but it looks pretty heavy, the rain, so I wonder what we'll see. There's no formation lap, remember, so they don't have any chance to get to grips with the conditions, as the race is about to begin in 20 seconds.
This could be quite the curveball for our drivers. Who will be the rain master among them? Did someone say tier? Because I certainly did.
Oh no,
And
you've
I've
said it now.
probably cursed him now, but I'm touching
What have you
wood.
done?
What have I done? He's probably going to crash on lap 1 now. It's just... He's going to crash and burn, as we go for 3, 4, 5 red lights for this Mexican Grand Prix. And I think the lack of formation lap messes up the start a little. But away we go for this race. And it looks like a decent start from Lalo Mato. But the Ferrari of Muhiti making a great pounce. And so is the other one of Pommy Alex. They're going to go 3 abreast into the first corner, I think. They are indeed, as Pommy goes to look around to go around the outside of Spartan Keith and closes the door on him, does the Red Bull, and sees himself through the first couple of corners with very little mistakes. And Krauser has fallen way back and is fighting. Mr. J-Man's gone as well. There's a big crash. I think that's both Alpines, and Alfa Romeo and a Williams all off in the first couple of corners.
Disaster for the Alpines and for Mr. J-Man, who's looking so
Pommy
promising.
Alex goes side by side with Spartan Keith into the second sector at the minute. He forces Spartan off the road and has to give the place right back. But there was a quick move for the lead, and he's going to go again. Here's the Ferrari around the outside this time, and he takes the lead of this race. A lot of man is going to follow him through, and he gets forced off the track. Jamie F1 off circuit as well, a little bit behind, and we've got a little bit more fighting.
Yeah, everyone's trying to get through the S's side by side, which is just not going to work in the wet conditions. Muhiti's gone! He's out of the race!
Oh no!
The championship hopeful in P2 in the championship is out of the race on lap 1. Do we have a safety car? Yes, we do. Muhiti is going to be absolutely gutted, but it's Pommy Alex who leads the race. We know how good he is in wet conditions, and here he is leading the Mexican Grand Prix after just 1 lap.
Wow. That is a huge development as Muhiti's now out of this championship. So if Lawrence just finishes the race, then he will outscore his rival at the moment, and he may even see himself dropping quite down the grid. A chance for drivers caught up in that action toward the back to get themselves into the pits and repair any damage. Mr. J-Man has stayed out. I think he was alright. He spun, I believe, but he didn't catch any damage. I saw both Alpines in the wall, and I think there was an Alfa Romeo involved in that as well.
Yeah, the Alpines are going to be very happy about this. But it is interweather, as we did think we saw the green tyres in the pits, but it did look pretty heavy, so maybe drivers struggling with the conditions. I don't know if the rain's going to get heavier. The tracker doesn't quite tell me that much, but yeah, not a good start for the Alpines, but it's Muhiti who's going to be gutted about this.
Yeah, he certainly will. Pommy Alex had an incredible start, up 3 places from P4. He flew off the line as well, did Muhiti, and he will be absolutely gutted to have crashed here in Mexico. Looking down the rest of the grid, JBS Steve up 2 places, Scott making up 8 places amongst all the carnage, so a decent start for the Alpha Tauri, who is quite the wily old fox is Scott. He's been with APPF1 for a while and he knows what he's doing out on the track. QBV up 7 places, having a great season at the moment, is the McLaren driver. He's in the battle with Scott and Spartan Keith for P5 at the minute, with Spartan Keith sat in P3 right now in the race. We have TTV Max up 2 as well, and Morella's up 5, so a decent start for the Alfa Romeos.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, what a start for Scott. As you say, he knows what he's doing. Very, very experienced driver in APPF1, and makes the most of the carnage on lap 1. I do think the S's, just drivers being a bit too ambitious in the wet weather at the S's. Just stay behind.
They're hard enough in the dry, let alone the wet.
Exactly. Yeah, you can be, if you want to go side by side in the dry. That's definitely possible. Mireles has retired. He's gone into the wall under the safety car.
No, he's done a George Russell.
No. Oh no, that is a disaster for Mireles. It's great to see him back, but not so great to see him in the wall. Hopefully we see more of him in the coming weeks, but yeah, he'll be annoyed about that one after his fantastic start.
Yeah, he certainly will. That is a shame for the Alfa Romeo, who came in for a little bit of racing today and has found himself in a meeting with Barry Yar.
Certainly has. I'm keeping an eye on everything. The tyres are going to last quite a while. I'm not sure if this is accurate. It's telling me that Tia has front wing damage. So he's problems for the Aston Martin further back, and also Lawrence has rear wing damage after his crash, so he's going to be struggling for the rest of the race.
Tia doesn't have a front wing.
Oh wow, okay. So yeah, Lawrence has orange rear wing damage, so he's going to be struggling for the rest of the race. So our championship leader and his rival both in dire situations at the start of this Grand Prix as Pommy Alex gets us underway again.
Yeah, Lalo Mato looking very impatient with the Ferrari, but the Ferrari's caught him out just a little bit and is zooming down the straight already. TTV Max making up places. I don't know if he got those before the line. He must have as
Definitely
we restart this race, so he'll see himself in the steward's room for that for sure, as Scott is getting absolutely robbed at the minute.
Crows are up 2 positions on the straight into turn 1. Fantastic driving from the Red Bull, as Scott is now under pressure from Mr. J-Man further back, who's now back in this race, of course. Lawrence, meanwhile, getting his way through both of them. What a move from the Alpine, the championship leader, looking to get himself into P8 as well, with an orange damaged rear wing, as there's damage for Scott further back, who hits QB, and then Fidoman's getting involved as well. I think QB's got some issues. Scott definitely has some issues after that collision. I don't know if you saw it better than me, Sumo.
I saw Fidoman taking out one of the little boards on the side of the track, but Scott has dropped all the way back into P12. I think Tia had to pit as well, so he's going to be in nowhere. But Lalo Mato challenging for the lead at the minute. He's having a look at Pommy Alex as they come into the stadium section now, but no move for a pass just yet. TTV Max making moves through the grid as he splits the 2 Mercedes, getting himself up into P5.
Yeah, Mercedes shot themselves in the foot there. JBS Steve went for a move on his teammate, and TTV Max said thank you very much, and took advantage of his compromised line, and now he's trying to get the other Mercedes. Here comes the youngster in the Alfa Romeo. He sets the fastest lap as he heads after Spartan Keith as well, but Jamie F1 now pressing his overtake button, trying to get past, and now all sorts of carnage as TTV Max goes round the outside of both of them, maybe tries to get Spartan Keith as well, but no cigar. And but he does get past the Mercedes of Jamie, and now he's after Spartan Keith, going into P3. But as we've seen, he's going to be in the steward's room later, so I don't know how much it's going to matter by the end. But round the outside he goes, and TTV Max looking to get himself into P3, and I think he's done it.
Yeah, he has just forced his Spartan Keith a little wide there, but I think that was all fair in terms of the racing that was had between the two. But young TTV Max is flying out there in the wet, but the stewards will have something to say about his eagerness under the safety car.
He certainly will. Lalo Maddo is really struggling in that Haas in these conditions. He was all over the road at the S's, and Max could find himself into P2 pretty soon. The two Mercedes currently still P5 and 6. They're running well, but yeah, Red Bull and Mercedes, the only two teams to really be still fairly active in the race, as well as maybe the Alpines, but Mr. J-Man and Tito Man are quite a way back behind Lawrence.
Yeah, Pommy Alex is controlling the pace well. He's dropped Lalo Maddo a little bit. TTV Max, though, is still flying out there, and he's on the back of the Haas already, and he's going to make a move up the inside of Lalo Maddo, and I think he might get it done just before the corner. He's loving these wet conditions, is the youngster, and he gets himself up into P2.
He certainly does. He is doing fantastically well, but how much is he going to regret that move under the safety car? He's up 9 positions, and Pommy Alex does not look safe here at all. TTV Max is by far the fastest car on track at the moment, and just as I say that, Tier now sets the fastest lap, lighting up the timing sheets further back.
Yeah, he needs to really punch in some laps and then wait for that pit stop to come for a lot of the drivers. We have 30 laps left to go in this Grand Prix, excluding the one we're on currently, and it's TTV Max chasing after the Ferrari of Pommy Alex, and it looks like it's this lap now. He looks to the inside, which then turns to the outside, and there's no way through, but Pommy runs wide and invites the youngster straight through, which he takes up immediately, and he now leads this race.
Wow, TTV Max is absolutely flying through the field. He is doing fantastically well here, as he now takes the lead of this race for the first time this season, that he's in the lead of a race in Tier 2, partly because it's his first race this season. We also have Spartan Keith further back trying to stay with these guys. No DRS in the wet, remember, so the 1 second margin is more of a loose indication of when cars are battling, but yeah, some surprising pace advantages out there at the moment.
Yeah, certainly so, and it's quite the train at the moment. 8 cars all within about a second of each other, leading from TTV Max, who is already breaking away from Pommy Alex, and Tier is lighting up the timing boards right now, and he is closed up to Scott by about 6-7 seconds over the last lap.
Yeah, Tier's last lap was a 29.7, Scott's was a 37.1. So Scott clearly making a mistake, and obviously with no practice, he's been very unlucky for this to be a wet race. It's even harder to do a race with no practice when it's in wet conditions, but fair play to him. He's still out there, unlike 2 of our drivers today.
Here comes Lalo Maddo again. He's setting up a move perhaps on Pommy Alex. He's got very close to the Ferrari on this last lap here, and of course he was the fastest in Sector 2 all through qualifying, so he's got the advantage there, and he's going to be hunting down the Australian now, who has dropped back from TTV Max by about 1.5 seconds. The effect of slipstream lessens and lessens as they go into the first sector, and this could be a move from the Haas, who's got some incredible closing speed at the moment, but I don't think without the DRS he's going to get it done, as Spartan Keith is overtaken by Jamie F1, it looks like, or is trying to overtake the Mercedes even, and he's going to go down the inside. There he goes, does the Red Bull, and he gets, I think Jamie got himself a penalty there for track limits infringements, as he looks to try and get back past Spartan Keith. He's very close to the Red Bull, but I don't think he's going to be close enough.
Yeah, Jamie doesn't really have enough ERS either. It was Jamie passing Spartan Keith, and then Keith passed him back at turn 1. Yeah, but Jamie only with 30% ERS, he's now going to struggle. You've really got to make sure you have your ERS in the rain, although it is very easy to charge back up in these wet conditions.
Yeah, you're braking a lot more, and you're braking quite heavily as well, and you're not really on full whack in these cars. interested to see if the rain is easing up or not, because it does look a little bit, looks a little bit clearer. Those skies are looking like they might be clearing up a bit, so this could be interchangeable conditions, which could in fact change the race completely, especially if TTV's dry weather pace isn't as quick as his wet weather pace.
Well, my forecast is telling me there's a 43% chance of rain at the moment, which seems to imply that the rain is going to start lessening. But I'm not too sure what exactly to make of that at the moment. We do have Lawrence is still at the back of this train. Meanwhile, the championship leader is sticking with all these cars in front of him. So power to him. He's doing well after a dismal qualifying. To try and take advantage of his main rival's DNF.
Oh, here comes Jamie. Has a little look at Spartan Keith. He's not close enough. As I just had to have a little look on the onboard to see where he was, and he tries to frighten the Red Bull a little bit, but doesn't quite get the move done as they come through this twisty sector 2 now. Double right-hander, all just following one by one. They go. Through the track, staying on the racing line at the minute. A little slide there from the Mercedes as he comes into the S section.
Yeah, Jamie is having a few struggles out there from riding on board with him. Spartan Keith maybe tried to make a move on Lalo there, but I think he got a bit of a snap of oversteer and couldn't quite make it stick. I'm just looking at the lap times. TTV Max's last lap time was, well, they're just coming across the line now, so we'll see what their lap times are. TTV Max just done a 1 minute 29.9. Pommy Alex has done a 1 minute 31.2.
Oh, here comes Jamie F1. He's going to go on the move. He got a much better exit than Spartan Keith, and he's going to overtake once again. Spartan Keith could look to retake that place the same way he did, and the slipstream really helping out the Red Bull. Defensive to the inside goes the Mercedes, so a long way around it is for the Red Bull, which then becomes the inside. Once again, they're still side by side as they come into the third part of this corner. Now the other Mercedes looking to get involved in this as well, and I think Spartan Keith is going to lose that place, and now crowds are getting involved. We've got both Red Bulls and Mercedes fighting. What is going on there? Both Mercedes losing places now, and Lawrence finally making a move, and he's going to gain 3 places, but he's got a penalty as well. Runs incredibly deep and loses everything.
Yeah, he went so deep. He tried to outbrake everyone, but outbroke himself in the end. And I think he gave all those places back willingly because he knew it was not entirely fair. Crozer's got himself a 3-second time penalty. There's time penalties all over the shop at the moment as everyone struggles to make it through and struggles with all the close racing that's happening at the moment.
Another penalty for Lawrence.
Yeah, and now here comes JBS Steve trying to get past Crozer further back, but he backs out of it before the corner and decides to live to fight another day.
Wow. Meanwhile, TTV Max 4.5 seconds ahead. Absolutely dominant pace at the moment from the Alfa Romeo driver. It's incredible to see. As Pommy Alex continues to fend off Lalo Maddo in the Haas. I've got a little bit of inside information here, Ghost, that it looks like TTV Max might be under investigation for a qualifying penalty.
Meanwhile, JBS Steve trying to make inroads on the Red Bulls as he goes down the inside of Crozer into turn 1. Sorry to interrupt you, Sumo. Down they come again, side by side. It's so hard to get through there side by side without contact in these wet conditions, but at the moment it's just been wheel banging from what I've seen, and now Crozer maybe trying to make the move into turn 4. Surely not. No, doesn't try it in the end. We've seen, you look at how much pace Tier has on those inters. He's done a 29.6, which is half a second faster than TTV Max, but he's just too far back after his spin, unfortunately.
Yeah, we need another safety car to come out, but I think the rain may disappear by then. It's still raining at the moment, but that could change.
Oh, Lalo's gone!
Oh no, Lalo's gone! I was just watching Crozer save a little tank snapper there, but Lalo has gone. That allows Pommy Alex to take a breath now as he's got Jamie F1 4 seconds behind him, but that's such a shame for the Haas as he goes into the wall as well. He's lost his front left end plate.
He certainly has. as this race has just gone from fantastic to nothing for the reserve driver in the Haas, which is heartbreaking after such a dominant qualifying. But clearly he is not too much of a fan of these wet conditions, as the train for P4 continues.
Yeah, certainly. So
JBS Steve
around the outside for the Mercedes once again, and that's Spartan Keith fending him off for now. He's lost touch of one Mercedes and is currently fighting off the other. He's hoping his teammate can get in front of JBS Steve at the moment, but Krause is just a little bit too far back, and he's got to look behind him as well, as Lawrence is looking very racy at the minute.
There is still rear wing on damage on that Alpine, believe it or not. But he's soldiering on. It doesn't seem to be affecting him, but he does have those 6 seconds of penalties now, which are really going to cost him come the end of the race, as we're about a third of the way through now. TTV Max leads by nearly 7 seconds from the Australian Pommy Alex.
It's absolutely incredible race pace at the moment from that Alfa Romeo, just flying ahead of everybody else in these wet conditions, as everyone else is struggling. Tier is almost on the back of Scott. He's closed up by another 2.5 seconds, and may finally see another car after many a lap, and it might not matter too much once the pit stops start coming around, as I think Tier would have to stop again after having to stop in the early stages.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just having a quick look at tyre wear, by the way, as
JBS
Steve again.
That was so
side by
close.
side again. A bit of contact between them. They're really fighting hard here as they go into turn 1, still side by side. Can they get through without wheel banging this time? I doubt it. JBS Steve down the inside. Spartan Keith trying to go all the way around the outside of turn 3. They're still side by side as they go up the back, the next straight. And now Crozer's getting involved and gets past both of them. Crozer into P4. Brilliant stuff from the Red Bull as JBS Steve loses 2 places in just a few corners.
Wow, great racing for the Red Bulls there as well, and those two fighting really opened the door for Krause, who finds himself up in P4. He does have that time penalty to contend with, however. His teammate does not, so maybe some team orders from Red Bull.
Lawrence is gone!
Oh no!
The championship leader, just as I rode on board with him. It's all my fault. But the Alpine has got no front wing.
Safety car.
It's a safety car, wow. Why is there a safety car? That is... No one's out, so that's a strange call from the game there. But as Pommy Alex gets a drive through for speeding. Pommy. Oh no.
Top runners just tumbling down.
Yeah, that will be Pommy's race over, I would have thought, unless there's another safety car later on. But he's got to take that drive through after the safety car, so he's going to drop all the way to the back. And heartbreak for the Australian as everyone comes into the pits for fresh tyres. The tyre wear was at around about 30-35%, so it's fairly logical that everyone will pit now, and they're going to be hoping to go all the way to the end. This is perfect news for our championship leader, who obviously lost his front wing, and he was going to be well out of this race, and now he's well and truly back in it. And it's also good news for Tia, who had electric pace on those intermediates, so keep an eye on the Aston Martin.
Yes, I'm certain he will find his way through the field with the pace that he's had. I think he's still the fastest man on track at the moment. If we look at our fastest lap, it's a 29.6 from Tier. He's almost a second quicker. No, not well, a second quicker than Pommy, who's our current leader. He's about 3/10 quicker than TTV Max's best time.
Yeah, he's looking absolutely fantastic in these conditions, but I don't want to give him too much praise, just in case I end up cursing him once again. But we will have to keep an eye on him, as yeah, the safety car is out. You know what one positive thing about all this wet weather is, Sumo?
What's that?
No double DRS zone.
Yes, they're actually, yes, that is a very positive thing about it. That double DRS zone is incredibly pesky, especially here. I think this is the worst one of all the
Yeah.
double DRS zones. Like, Hungary doesn't really matter because it's such a short
Yeah.
run to turn two. I can't. And Canada, I guess, is the other bad one.
Canada, I feel, is a justified one though, because it's so difficult to overtake into the Wall of Champions if
Yeah.
you're not already well ahead. So it's justified if the first DRS zone goes into a corner that's really hard to overtake in. But if you're on a track like this and you're on an extremely long straight where you've got DRS for the whole of it and it's insanely easy to just overtake someone into turn one, even if you're not significantly ahead, it's a heavy braking zone in a 90-degree corner, so it's a perfectly legitimate overtaking opportunity, if not one of the best on the calendar. And then for some reason you get another DRS zone, so the defending car has absolutely no chance.
Yeah, certainly it's a very tricky situation. I think perhaps the DRS should go to whoever is leading as they come out of the third corner. I think that's probably where it's best suited, and maybe they could move the beginning of the DRS zone by a few meters, or maybe or something like that as they come towards the braking zone for turn 4.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the smartest setup for a double DRS zone. We'll put it that way. But you know, it's at least we've got a cool stadium section, right?
Yeah, I do like the stadium section. I imagine that's what Miami would have wanted when they were saying they wanted to get themselves, have themselves the track running through the Hard Rock Stadium. But Alex has come in for some fresh tyres, and he does have to serve that drive-through as well, so he will stay at the back, and I think he will be at the back for the remainder of the race, barring any other safety cars that come out as we continue, which now puts Krauser as the provisional leader of this race right now. But TTV Max currently, if things were to end right now, would win this race, although he does have some stewards' investigations already looming over.
Well, by my count, he overtook 2 people before the safety car line. So by usual rules, that's 2 10-second penalties. So obviously I can't say that that's definitely going to happen yet, but all I can say is what I saw. So we will see how that shapes up in terms of the final standings, but it would be a huge shame and a very silly way to lose a race that he has so far been dominating in these tricky conditions. I don't think TTV Max has never won a race in APPF1, so yeah, he's going to be distraught when he sees in the stewards room what he's done, I'm sure. Safety car is in this lap though, so we wait and see what's going to happen there.
Krauser, then your effective safety car. I really love the graphics for the rain on the F1 games at the minute. They're incredibly, not realistic, but just really, really cool. Especially the what do they call it? It's, is it the rooster tails?
Something like that.
But Krauser then has got from about now to the line. It's a very short one and he's gone already. TTV Max, it looks like he stayed with him for the time being. Tier as well, falls a little back. QB's at a spin at the final corner, and he's going to be dropping way back. Alex, interestingly enough, not pitting to serve his penalty, which I don't think he can do on the first lap. I has to do it on the second, I believe. TTV Max sees the door open and goes for the opportunity. He goes incredibly wide. He goes off the circuit, and I think he might have to give that place back.
Perhaps, but Spartan Keith has just lost a place to JBS Steve, but not for long. He dives down the inside. There's more contact up ahead as Crozer dives down the inside of TTV Max and takes back P1. Goes also very wide, so we'll see what happens with that as well. But Spartan Keith retakes P4. Snap of oversteer there, but he does have that position. Our championship leader now going down the inside of JBS Steve as on the approach to the S's. What a fantastic move from Lawrence into P5 he goes. JBS Steve caught unawares. Lalo Mado, our previous, our pole sitter, is up into P7 now after his spin. As JBS Steve tries to make the move on Lawrence, as Spartan and Jamie go side by side once again in this race, and Jamie keeps P3.
Wow, a lot of action going on up and down at the minute. I think TTV Max does have the pace to get moving. Keep your eye on that Aston Martin. As Mr. J-Man has had a spin in the stadium section, and he plummets down the order back into P12. Goes to Williams. He'll have some work to do to recover from that one.
And TTV Max as well. TTV Max into P1. Crozer's going to fight him into turn 1 though. Here comes the Red Bull. Crozer hasn't pitted yet, by the way, as he goes down the inside into turn 1. Is there enough space going to be left? There's a bit of wheel banging as Crozer has to concede the position in the end, and now he's going to lose it to Jamie F1 further back as Jamie gets to enter P2. Lawrence up to P4 past the other Red Bull of Spartan Keith. Red Bull looking really strong at the moment, as are Mercedes, but it's TTV Max who's back in the lead.
Yeah, it is at the minute. Lawrence still fighting with Crozer. I think he's just got the job done. Damage. JBS Steve's looking to try and get through as well, and he does get past the Red Bull at the minute. There's that Aston Martin of Tier moving up into P7 at the minute. He's boxed in a little bit though, as he's got the Red Bull too close in front of him. But he continues to make it. Oh no, he's gone! Oh, but he's taken Lalo out instead! I think that's another safety car. It is.
I think it is. I think there may have been contact. I think Lalo might have just tapped the back of Tier through the S section, and that sent Tier spinning round, and then Lalo couldn't avoid him. And if there was a tap, then Lalo is the architect of his own downfall, because Tier's spin then sent him into the wall. But our pole sitter is now out of the race. Pommy Alex is back in the race, albeit from P12. Is Crozer going to pit? No, he's not. He's staying out. Those tyres are 46% worn, so he's really, I think he's going to probably commit to going the whole race on this one set of intermediate tyres, which would be quite the achievement if he could do it, but it's going to be tricky, especially with the front wing damage he has, which has appeared on my timing sheets.
Wow, I'll be looking at the penalty situation at the minute. Tier, J-Man, Krauser and Jamie all have 3 with Fido Man and Lawrence, both the Alpines, on 6 seconds of penalties, so that could come into play later on as well. And I think there might be a few more penalties coming people's way a little bit later on, but we won't talk about the post-race shenanigans, as we've still got plenty of racing laps left to go, as we are on our third safety car of the evening.
Lalo Malo is absolutely distraught in the Discord. He's just in all caps. Is it kind of like the Leclerc scream in France? That's what it reminds me of. All caps. No.
Mark says it's going to dry up. It's what Lalo is also saying.
So we'll see if that comes to fruition, and that will certainly spice things up, as they'll have to go on to slicks later on if that is true. I had a race yesterday where it was dry the whole race, and then it got wet at the end, and the driver who was in P1, he was just dropping and dropping because he hadn't stopped yet. He was on the hard since the start, and he as soon as he saw the rain at the end, he pitted for inters, and all of us behind.
Scott and Tier going on to dry tyres.
Oh, okay. So that crossover is happening, but yeah, I mean, basically, I was just saying, changeable conditions can massively change a race. So all these standings you see here at the moment, do not take anything for granted, because everything can still change.
It is still raining, however, but this is a ballsy strategy from the two very experienced drivers on the grid. Scott, I remember back in, I think it was sprints in Singapore, made an incredible call to go onto the dry tyres early, and I think that got him a race win, or at least a P2 at one point. And I think it has stopped raining.
It looks like it, yeah. I can't see any. I can see 1 or 2 raindrops on the Mercedes that I'm following.
Still very wet though.
Yes, it is, absolutely. So there's still plenty of spray, and it's going to take a while to dry up. But obviously, Tier and Scott will be hoping that the safety car will stay out for another lap, which it should, and then they'll have a little bit more time to get the track a little bit drier. And this could be an inspired decision from the two most experienced drivers on the grid.
And this could get a few other drivers to think, hey, maybe we should be pitting for dry tyres right now. So keep your eye as we come through. I don't think TTV Max is going to come in, but anybody in the midfield may risk it if they've seen what's happened. I guess toward the back, if anywhere, as they've been the only ones who saw it. And no one going for those dry tyres then. This could be a great strategy call from Tier and Scott if the track is dry enough and we go green.
I'm surprised Crozer hasn't Crozer hasn't dived in for slicks, to be honest, as Mr. J-Man and Thiedemann swap positions, but they're back into the correct ones again. But yeah, Crozer, he hasn't stopped yet, so I really thought he would take this opportunity to go onto the slicks and also repair his front wing damage. But he hasn't done that. He's stayed out on these inters, and he could end up losing out if Tier and Scott are right.
Yeah, he certainly could, and I think, I don't know, I think it could be the early stages of dry tyres at this point, as a safety car should, excuse me, should be in on this lap.
Well, if they are right, if it is sort of becoming dry tyre weather, then I mean, they're in a fantastic position if they can just stay on the back of the cars until the rest do come in for slicks. Then they're going to be right at the front as everyone else pits. Safety car is in this lap, so we turn our attention back to the front and see when TTV Max decides to punch it.
Yes, he's got until the safety car peels in, of course, to the line, so he becomes your effective safety car, trying to keep the warmth in those intermediate tyres, which will not be on for much longer for a lot of the field. Definitely not for Tier and Scott, who've already got rid of them and are looking to make that an advantage that they use to get themselves up the order at the minute. I think he's gone. He has. He's got Jamie F1 to contend with as well. Crozer's been definitely caught sleeping as the two lead cars have opened up a 1.5 second gap at the minute, and Scott has crashed.
So clearly not able to stick on those slicks at the moment. QB and Mr. J-Man nearly making contact. QB having to jump the curb to avoid him, and Pommy Alex swoops past into P9 as now Lawrence, the championship leader, trying to make a move on Crozer for P3. Here comes the Alpine down the inside, up towards turn 4 they go. Can he make the move? I think he's done it. Crozer down to P4, the championship leader, taking full advantage of all these safety cars, and he is looking very good at the moment.
Just keeping an eye on Tier, who's very tentatively making his way around the circuit, doing exactly what you said they might do. It's a shame that Scott just got caught out on the restart there and spun himself into the barrier. TTV Max getting himself back into the swing of things, but with the track drying out, it will be a pit stop for everybody in the field, I'd imagine.
I think they have done it too early. I think they've gone for the gamble, and it's been too early because Tier has dropped back a huge amount of time, and he spun So that is it. The Tier and Scott went for the gamble. It hasn't worked for them, and they're going to lose out when all is said and done. As Crozer now leads a long train all the way down to P9.
Yeah, he's got JBS Steve on the hunt behind him, and I think it's going to be an overtake for the Mercedes. He's closing and closing on Krauser. Can he get it done as they come into the braking zone for the first corner? There's a little bit of jostling for position a bit further back as Fido Man tries to get past Spartan Keith. Not quite close enough on this occasion. Pommy Alex has got ahead of Mr. J-Man and has now got the Alpine of Fido Man in his sights as well as they come down towards turn 4.
Yeah, here he comes, the Ferrari, looking to make a move. He's not out of this championship yet, and he's trying to prove it as he goes round the outside of Tito Man in towards turn 4. He's made the move. Brilliant stuff from the Australian, and he is up to P7, making tracks on this grid at the moment. We know how good he is in these conditions.
Yeah, we really do, and Pommy Alex is cutting his way through the field at the minute. I think once the stops do come around though, Ghost, I think Tier might at least be on the back of everybody. So he might just see some advantage. And Scott going on to softs.
Yeah, he's Scott has just said he's doubled down really. You kind of have to at this point. And he just wants to get those slicks ready and perhaps take fastest lap early on to strike fear into the hearts of the cars 45 seconds in front of him. As QB gets himself a 3-second time penalty, and now Pommy Alex on the back of the Red Bull. Here comes the Australian trying to make a move on Spartan Keith. Side by side they go on the run to turn 1. Also side by side up ahead are Crozer and Steve.
Oh, here we go then once again. The Red Bull and the Mercedes go wheel to wheel into this triple chicane here, and it's JBS Steve who comes out ahead as they exit turn 3. Does Pommy Alex go around?
It's Pommy Alex just tried to take too much out of turn 3, and Spartan Keith is sent round. He is not going to be happy about that at all. But it's Crozer who's lost the position to JBS Steve. From Mercedes up to P4. Pommy Alex still in P6, but I think we'll see that one in the stewards as well.
Yeah, I certainly think so. And now Tier has come into the pit lane as well, so that gamble really not paying off as Scott's close to being lapped at the moment. As this track has not dried out as
Mr. J-Man's gone again!
Mr. J-Man, no, he's gone at the S's and he's still spinning, just stops now. Losing his front wing, and he'll be in the pits, and it's another safety car.
Oh, unbelievable the amount of safety cars we're having. It is on reduced, I promise you. I'm not sure why it's coming up with all these safety cars with cars that haven't even crashed out of the session. But Spartan Keith will be happy about that. He'll be back in the race, but he'll be absolutely livid, I'm sure, about that move. From Pommy Alex. Pommy Alex will probably say that he might say that he was entitled to go for that gap, and Spartan will say he was too far back. But we'll see what happens there as Spartan comes in, as does Mr. J-Man. Are they going to go on to slicks?
It's very interesting. I think they might just... No, it's Inters again.
Inters.
We'll see how that plays out. Very luckily for Scott, he's not been lapped yet, so he will continue to race as he should be allowed to overtake the safety car, but I don't know what's going on here. It's not going to let him, is it?
It's not going to let him.
He was too close to the leaders. That's very stupid.
That is really, really unfortunate for Scott. He does not deserve to be sitting at the back there. He's gonna nearly goes into the safety car as he tries to take out his frustration on Bernd Mailander, and now, in fact, I'm not sure why he's not ghosted there as he hits the Mercedes and goes into the wall.
Very frustrated Scott. Mr. J-Man went onto the soft tyres actually, and he's retired from the session. I think he's I think the safety car has really annoyed Scott there, and Tier has interestingly come in and put on the Inters.
So even Tier doesn't think it's good enough for slicks now. Hi Dresden, welcome into the stream. good to see you here. And yeah, I agree. It does seem too early for the slicks. I think there's still a tiny bit of light rain there.
Crozer's finally in.
Crows are finally into the pits. There we go. So what tyres is he going to go on?
Slicks, soft. He's on the
It
soft.
is, it's slicks. He's gone for it. He's taken the plunge, has the Red Bull. And we'll see if that's an inspired decision or a grave error from Crozer. There's still 11 laps to go in this race. As Scott leaves the session, and now Mr. J-Man spins again on those softs under the safety car now. So clearly those slicks still really struggling. Tier gets himself a time penalty under the safety car because, well, he's Tier. And now, sorry Tier. But yeah, he's back onto the inters now. As we've got, yeah, the safety car out and not really much else to say.
Yeah, I mean the track just isn't drying at the minute, Ash. It's definitely not raining anymore. There's maybe some light spits of rain. But definitely not heavy, or at least as heavy as it has been. But it's just not, that track is just not drying out as quickly as drivers were anticipating. And catching people out, I think, with a strategy. I don't know how well Crozer on the softs is going to go at the minute. Penalty for, you want to see the penalties, I suppose. I was going to say penalty for who? It's 6 seconds still for the Alpine drivers, with Tier now joining the 6 second club with time penalties, with Mr. J-Man, Krauser, QBV, JBS Steve and Jamie F1 all on 3 seconds at the minute. And TTV Max, I will remind you, will be under investigation, certainly for a qualifying infringement and possibly for some overtaking under safety car conditions.
I think there are going to be a lot of drivers angry at this young man in the Alfa Romeo after this race. He seems to have ruffled quite a few feathers today. He is leading this race, but I don't know if he is going to be leading this race after all is said and done in the stewards room. Although all these time penalties for the cars right behind him could end up really helping him out. Spartan Keith is up to P8. He sees Pommy Alex 3 places in front of him. I'm sure his target will be to overtake the Ferrari after what happened earlier. But we will see. Crozer just catching back up to the pack after just pitting. He's going to be on fresh inters, so both Red Bulls actually on fresh inters, so keep an eye on them. Tier as well will be on the inters. On fresh inters, and Mr. J-Man once he catches back up.
Yeah, certainly. It definitely does look a lot worse on the stream now that I look at it, Ash. This is 720p quality for sure, because it does look a lot... Again, it does look a little less grim and grey, but it's still very overcast out there on circuit at the minute. But yeah, TTV Max might see himself plummet down the order with time penalties. That will be added to his name, but a safety car will be in this lap.
Oh, Mr. J-Man and Tier goes for a spin in panic about the safety car coming in, but it's too late. He's not going to be able to catch up. Neither is Mr. J-Man, so both of them are going to be out of this race for now.
Tier might just catch up.
It's going to be very close. But when is TTV Max going to punch it?
Any moment now. Jamie F1 looking to get right on the back of that Alfa Romeo if he can, and I think he's gone, has the youngster. And already Lawrence is on the attack on the Mercedes, and he's going to go and get straight ahead of him, but they're going to go side by side, running very close on the two of them. Jamie F1 into the slipstream now as they come in towards turn 1, using as much battery as he dares. Does he go late on the brakes? He doesn't. He lets Lawrence through, and he yields that position, so Lawrence goes into P2 at the moment. And ahead of the Mercedes, but he's got 6 seconds of time penalties to contend with, remember, as Krauser and Fireman having a little bit of a fight back behind for P7.
Trying to get out of the way. He does get out of the way eventually, but the two of them right to the outside, and Krauser all the way down the inside. Tito Man loses the position again. Crows up to P6, and Spartan Keith gets past the McLaren as well. I think QB is just looking to get to the end of this race, and I do not blame him.
Yeah, certainly. QB does tend to favour finishing races, and he always, well, he never disappoints when it comes to bringing the car home in one piece. But TTV Max still got some incredible pace. Lawrence can't even catch him at the moment, but it'll all be null and void, as I think at the minute Jamie will be your race leader as far as well, penalties and looming penalties are confirmed.
Pommy Alex is in a good position as well in that Ferrari. Currently, he is ahead of all the cars in front of him, apart from Max. But you know, we don't know what looming penalties are in store for the Alfa Romeo. So Pommy Alex could still end up winning this race, which is absolutely fantastic for him. Spartan Keith has really dropped off the back of his teammate. I'm not sure what's happened to him. He doesn't have damage, so maybe a mistake from the Red Bull.
Yeah, perhaps that fighting may have warranted him a little bit of damage. He looks very squirrely on the exit of turn 3 there. I think Fido Man has seen that. He might have a go as they come up towards turn 4, and he is. In fact, around the outside goes the Alpine, closing the door and squeezing it, the Alpine, as much as he can. It's the Red Bull, and fends him off 4 now. But struggling is the Spartan Keith at the moment, as Krauser sits at P7, just a few tenths behind Pommy Alex. Lawrence, another 3-second penalty.
Another time penalty, yeah. So is that 9 seconds for him now?
Yeah, it's 9 seconds for the Alpine. Wow. As Pommy Alex runs a little wide. That's going to open the door for Krauser, I think, as he looks to go around the outside. As they come into the stadium section, Pommy Alex fends him off for the time being, but that's going to drop him back a little bit. But he'll definitely be behind still everybody who's in front of him, and he's got some decent pace in that Ferrari, and even Krauser's got a penalty as well, so if Krauser got ahead, Pommy Alex would still technically be in front.
Tier up to P9 past QB at the moment, further back, but now Krauser looking to make the move on Pommy Alex as they come up to turn 1. He's got the slipstream down the inside, goes the Red Bull as he brakes much later than the Ferrari. And Pommy Alex can't really do anything about that as they come through, nearly making contact with the Red Bull, but he's going to have to accept the overtake from Krauser there, and Pommy Alex tumbling down, which is not what I expected at all. Yeah, it's tricky times for the Australian.
Yeah, he's definitely dropped back a little bit. Maybe he's got having some issues on those older tyres. Lifeboat hoping that it doesn't rain in Tier 1 on Friday, and hoping that Tier 2 has soaked it all up. We'll have to wait and see for that one, Lifeboat.
Wide from Krauser, very wide at the S's, and this could open the door for Pommy Alex on the run to the next corner. Pommy has to brake to not go into the back of the Red Bull, and that compromises his line, so Krauser gets away with it for now, but the Australian right behind him, ready to pounce now.
Yeah, he is, and he could have had a little look into this hairpin here, but it's very, you have to be very close and very brave to do that. I think a little tentative for the both of them through the exit of the stadium section as they go, and I think Krauser has opened up that gap enough where he's going to be safe at the minute.
It seems to me that Lawrence starts off slow and then gets faster and faster and faster as the race goes on, and he gets more used to the track, because obviously we're giving him a handicap with the no line, because otherwise he'd be a lot faster, but I think he is, as he gets more and more used to the track, he gets faster as the race goes on. So all these safety cars have massively helped the championship leader, and he's currently running very strongly as Mr. J-Man now sets the fastest lap further back. So he does have pace in that Williams, he just hasn't been consistent enough today.
Yeah, I think it might be drying a little bit as well, so
yeah,
the tyres are going to be a little bit faster as there's a little less water for them to move at the moment. But Tier is on the back of Fido Man once again. Penalties to contend with. Only 3 drivers do not have penalties in this race so far, and that's Spartan Keith, Pommy Alex and TTV Max. But Pommy Alex has dropped so far back that I don't think he's going to benefit from all of those penalties anymore.
I don't think he's going to benefit from the Mercedes. He still might benefit from Lawrence. I'm just going to see the gap to leader. Pommy Alex about 6 seconds behind Lawrence, and Lawrence has 9 seconds of penalties, so he could still make that position on the Alpine as we continue on with the race. And Spartan Keith as well could get himself into the mix as he sees himself just behind the Ferrari by about 8 tenths now.
Yeah, this will be a decent result for Mercedes. They'll find themselves 2 and 3 after Lawrence's penalties. So that'll be the result they need to get themselves a bit further, well, a bit closer even to the likes of Alpine and Ferrari.
Tito Man could be under pressure from Tier pretty soon. The Aston Martin's got some really good pace. They're both on the same amount of penalties, so this is a race for position for P8 between the two of them. Two Mercedes also close together, but I don't think they have any interest in fighting each other for the time being. They just want to make sure to secure this team result, what is currently looking like a double podium.
Yeah, and I think Pommy Alex, I don't think he's got the pace to keep this gap to Lawrence. It's 9 seconds the gap to leader now, so it means he's about 7 seconds behind Lawrence.
Yeah, with four and a little bit laps to go. I have to agree. I don't think he's quite got the pace to keep that 9-second margin to the Alpine. Of course, he doesn't know that he's too far back to know what Lawrence has, but I don't know if he has Muhiti talking to him as well. Muhiti out, of course, as Tier nearly goes for a spin at the final corner, manages to save it, but loses a lot of time to Tito Man.
This could have been Tier's race, and I think he's just had too many incidents of spinning, and that strategy call as well was such a big risk, but I think they were just counting on the track drying out a bit quicker, and it still hasn't dried out at the moment as he almost goes again.
Oof.
Just not the Aston Martin's race at the minute, lacking consistency, I think. Which
definitely.
is absolutely crucial.
I'm keeping an eye on the lap times at the moment. Fastest car on track right now is Mr. J-Man, but TTV Max is the next fastest by quite some distance, and then after that it's pretty much in the order that they're currently in. I'm just looking at Pommy Alex's lap compared to Lawrence. Last lap, Pommy Alex lost 4 tenths to Lawrence. We'll see what it's going to be this lap. We're coming on to lap 34, so 3 laps to go. Lawrence's last lap was a 28.9 as Pommy now comes across the line. What's he going to do? It's a 29.5, so 6 tenths he lost that lap. And I think Lawrence is going to do just enough by the end.
Yeah, he certainly will. Spartan Keith might also have something to say about that. If he can get close enough to Pommy Alex, these two racing for position, as they don't have any time penalties at the minute. And despite all of the trouble it seems TTV Max has caused on track today, he has had some incredibly dominant pace, and you've got to give him that.
Yeah, definitely. Mr. J-Man is securing his fastest lap with a 27.7. I don't know if the track is drying or if he just is that much faster than everyone at the moment. But he's certainly looking very strong for pace as Spartan Keith right on the back of Pommy Alex now. These two are going to keep fighting all the way to the checkered flag as Lawrence is passed by Jamie. There's a mistake from the Alpine and he's down to P3, and now that gap has come down to 5 seconds between him and Pommy Alex. So Pommy Alex back in this fight for well, not a podium, but certainly the top 4, I think. As Tier's out! No! Oh, Tier.
He's spun coming out of the S's, yeah, and he's hit the wall.
He'll still be classified. So he will still get points today, but...
Here comes Lawrence again. He's on the back of this Mercedes once more. Goes to the inside, all the way to the inside, in fact. As far as he can go. and he gets right ahead, and I think Krauser now getting involved as well, very close, almost into the back of the Mercedes as he brakes super late. Pommy
Yeah,
Alex and Spartan going in toe-to-toe as well, as Spartan came incredibly close to the back, and he continues to be close, and I think this could be a move for him, but he's got a penalty now as well, so he won't get ahead of the Ferrari if they finish the way they are.
And he's made the move, but as you say, he's got himself a penalty. I think it was at the final corner on the previous lap. So Spartan Keith just taken himself out of this battle, and Pommy Alex, despite currently running in P7, could find himself, I think, P4 when all is said and done.
Yeah, I think so. Unless the Mercedes can get themselves some more penalties before the end of the race, anything can happen. But it must have been a big mistake for Lawrence. And he's going to regret that one, I think, as he will plummet down the order with those 9 seconds.
He certainly will. TT Max about to take us on to the final lap. And, well, he's looking to extend enough of a gap that any penalties he receives in the stewards room aren't going to matter anyway. He's looking insanely fast. Has TT Max's older brother taken the controller or something?
That's what Lifebout said in the chat.
It's this is crazy.
Maybe it's bitmappy. Who knows?
Yeah, it must be bitmappy. He's back.
But Lawrence fending off the 2 Mercedes, they're trying to open up enough of a gap where he's not going to lose out all that much in terms of penalties at the minute. Pommy Alex is sat behind 2 of the Red Bulls, which I think he'll get past both of them, and he's looking to get into P4. It won't be a podium place unless those Mercedes can get themselves another time penalty each. But I think with the last lap coming closer and closer to an end, I don't think that's going to happen as we ride through the Essex for the final time in this Mexican Grand Prix, and all the drivers getting themselves through there as tentatively as possible. They want to finish this race. At the moment, Pommy Alex getting close to the back of Krauser, finding some pace. He's going to make a move, perhaps looks to the outside. Does the Ferrari? Can he go up, under the Red Bull? We can, because Krauser goes way too deep. We cut to the front as TTV Max crosses the line in first place, pending investigation in the stewards room at the moment. But Lawrence is going to come across the line now with Jamie F1, who is going to get that P2 off him. A double podium for Mercedes as Lawrence falls behind Spartan Keith. Where is Pommy Alex? Pommy Alex does get into P5. Spartan Keith doesn't lose a place. Keeps it by 0.03 of a second at the moment, and we've got Krauser, then followed by Fido Man QB, and Mr. J-Man will round off the rest of the grid.
I think we might see Krauser in the stewards room as well, courtesy of Pommy Alex, because Pommy ended up losing out to Spartan by 0.03 of a second at the end. But Krauser went for a move at the hairpin in the stadium section when he was nowhere near alongside, caused them both to lose a huge amount of time. So Pommy Alex might not be happy about that one. But Lawrence, driver of the day, I think that's deserved, but he'll be ruining all of those time penalties that he got, because they have taken him all the way down to P6 in the end.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I think TTV Max will be celebrating this one, but I think it might be short-lived once the stewards do get involved. I think he's got a number of penalties possibly coming his way. I've definitely seen a couple already be reported to the stewards, so it could be a Mercedes 1-2, and that's what they would have wanted.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mercedes have driven incredibly well today. If we could give a constructor of the day, it would definitely be to the Mercedes duo, because they've driven really well, and they had some great battles as well. So well done to Jamie and JBS Steve on their double podium. I'll let you run through the standings, Sumo.
Well, TTV Max finishes on the top step of the podium, but that could change after the race. Later on, with Jamie F1 and JBS Steve joining the young Brit on the podium. Spartan Keith sits in P4 with Pommy Alex finishing P5, which could have been that one place higher. if not for a late race incident. Uh, Lawrence finishes P6 with Krauser and Fido Man 7 and 8. QBV and Mr. J-Man round off the top 10, with Tier rounding off the rest of the finishers, with Scott, Lalo Mado, Morales and Muhiti not finishing the race.
It's certainly a chaotic Mexican Grand Prix. I think the rain did not help today. It's just off the back of the chaos in Miami, and we all thought, right, we come to Mexico and we have a very clean race, and then we get to the race day and it's chucking it down. Yeah, hopefully not too many incident reports, but yeah, I saw a few things even on my end that I think a few drivers may be unhappy with. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think things to talk about in staff rooms, perhaps. But yeah, our job for now is to commentate on what was a very exciting race from the commentary box.
Yeah, and I must give TTV Max the praise. He had an incredible pace in the wet there, and despite whatever he has done on the circuit, uh, he did perform incredibly well to win, especially by the margin he did as well. Maybe we might have to investigate whether it was his brother driving for him. That would be a scandal, wouldn't it? Or the famed Bitmappy. Uh,
It must have been Bitmappy.
it must have been. Oh dear. But any final thoughts, Ghost?
Um, well, I mean, why? I think my first thought, completely unrelated. Why does so many people use number two? We've
Yeah, I
got
don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 15 drivers today running number two on their cars. So a number in high demand. But anyways, it's I mean, it's certainly been an exciting race to watch. It was a very long race, over an hour in the end, thanks to all the safety cars and the rain. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really have too much to say.
Yeah, TTV Max saying he doesn't have a brother, but he does have a sister, so perhaps his sister driving, but we still suspect Bitmappy. Um, anyway, yeah, an incredible race, and I think we'll have to update you at the start of next week's race on the stewarding decisions in the post-race at the moment. But your winner for today, at least provisionally, is TTV Max. So a big well done to him. And a well done to all of our drivers for navigating the rain, and our podium sitters as well. I just realised that I've gone the whole stream without telling you guys to leave a like on the stream and subscribe. And I know the majority, there was at least like 14 people watching at one point, so some of you haven't done that already. So please make sure any of my streams that you come across, and Ghosts as well, leave a like and subscribe, because it does help us out big time. Make sure you go check out our sponsor as well, Positive Perception Media Design Products. They do have some incredible racing content on their socials and on their YouTube channel as well. So please go over there and give them some support. I would really very much appreciate that. Unless there's anything else to add, Ghost, I think that is going to be everything.
Yeah, I think so too. Not much more to add from me. So yeah, we'll see you next week, I suppose.
Yeah, next week we go to the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona, Spain. So another tricky track for the Tier 2 drivers, and I'm certain there will be plenty of action to be had. But anyway, that will be next week's problem. I'll see you guys again, possibly tomorrow, for another attempt at career mode. I'll see how I'm feeling about that one. But anyway, for now, I have been Sumo,
I have been Ghost.
and we shall catch you next week when we go to Spain for round 4 of the Tier 2 Championship. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.